Hi everybody, in today's video I have come to a location that I've been waiting for in terms of getting slightly misty. So I've come here with the intention of doing some black and white photography, maybe some colour thrown in there as well. Along the way I'll give you some hints and tips regarding not only black and white but also doing photography of trees and also regarding photography in lower light conditions. So the one thing that I'm probably not going to have today is any light coming through the fog. Doesn't seem to be that way at the moment. But I'm just lining up my first shot. There's a nice silver birch tree behind me that I'm just looking at. Now at the moment I've got the camera set up, so I'm taking a horizontal. I'll also probably put it in the vertical as well. So generally what I do when I'm doing black and white is put the camera into monochrome. I strongly recommend that you do that because it just helps you to visualize the black and white shot rather than take it in color and then kind of realize that it doesn't quite work in black and white. And yeah, just zooming in on parts of the tree really. Now I've got my 200mm lens on. To get most of the tree in, I'm going to have to include the sky, but then the sky is kind of giving that misty effect anyway, so I think it still works pretty well. There's some trees, there's a massive amount of trees you can see behind me. Again, with the fog right in the background, not through the trees unfortunately, but there's enough in the background there to just separate it from the rest of the scene. So, because there's quite a few trees here, in fact, let me just show you on the video what I'm looking at. So there's a lot of trees that you can see here. Now, I've spoken about this before, but when we're doing this type of photo, the important thing is to make sure that we get separation between the trees so that we don't end up with trunks crossing over, etc. Now, the other thing I like to do when I'm doing tree photography in particular is not just rely on the camera screen, but to actually go in, use the viewfinder, because that's actually really going to help in terms of getting separation. Otherwise, you get home, you think it looks okay on the screen, you put it into Lightroom and you find out that you've got trunks crossing over or things in the foreground that you don't particularly want. I'm actually at my favourite tree on this location. I think it's always nice to have a favourite tree when you go somewhere to do photography. And I have a really nice shot of this one in spring when there was some fog as well. So I thought it'd be great to come back to it. Let me again just show you what I'm looking at on the camera. Now I'm showing this to you in colour, but I think again, because I've got a shot of this already in colour, albeit a different season, I think it would be nice actually to put this into black and white again. And I think black and white is really going to help separate it as well from the background. But I really love the shape of this tree, particularly the bottom, particularly the trunk that you can see just there. I like the kind of curve that this has, and it does look good with the misty background. I managed to find a higher location and just to look down kind of more into the valley here so I can get some nice shot of the fog in the background as well. Now I'm really maxing out. I'm at 200mm on my lens. I'm trying to avoid getting any of the foreground in because it's a little bit messy. Again, if I just show you perhaps on the video what I'm looking at here, there's a lot of foreground going on, which I really want to try and eliminate out as much as possible. So by zooming all the way in, now this is video, so obviously it's not going to be exactly the same as in photo mode, but it really kind of eliminates all of that foreground out, gets rid of all of the kind of messiness, really focusing in, there's a tree in the center and then the mist and the layers in the background behind that tree. So that's really what I'm looking for here. I just think there's something quite nice about doing black and white. I've spoken on this channel before about, you know, just expanding creativity, trying something different, etc. I don't know, there's just something about it that I think just means that you have to work a little bit harder sometimes for the composition, for the shot, because you really have to think about what fits best for that black and white photo. Again, you know, I don't always stick to the rules. I think photography should be more creative than that and not just about following rules, etc. And, you know, rules tend to change over time as well. So if we don't try new things, how are we ever going to find out if something different works? But let me know in the comments below whether you prefer black and white photography, color, or whether you enjoy actually doing a mix of both. So I'm just working on something a little bit different here. So if I just show you on the back of camera what I'm looking at, ordinarily it's not such an amazing scene, right? But you can see that in the background there, it does look misty, looks a little bit murky. But what I'm doing is to enhance this shot. What I want is either to someone to walk into the scene or to go past me and go out. So it looks as if they're coming through the mist in whichever direction they're passing. Now, they're going to be massively in the background, but I don't want the person to be completely blurred out. So what I'm doing on this shot is increasing the ISO, 1250 is what I've increased it to. So it's going to be a bit of noise in this, which I don't really mind, to be honest. And it's giving me a shutter speed of 1/50 or 1/50th. So that should be good enough that they're not completely blurred, but it doesn't need to be quick enough for them to be massively sharp and in focus. So at the moment I'm experimenting with this tree behind me, just there. And I'm doing it both in horizontal and vertical. With the horizontal, I'm actually going to zoom right in, so I'm going to ignore the top of the tree and just get the lower half of the tree. I'm probably going to do that as a color photo. And then I'm also got it, as you can see now, I've got the camera actually in vertical mode, and I'm going to include the whole tree with the sky in the background, because the sky, as I said, is kind of actually looking more misty. And there's mist in the back that's separating the tree from this. Now this could work much better in black and white. A really nice morning with some really nice weather conditions. As always, thank you very much for watching and see you next time.